Iowa's Rafael Zuccalla to shine. Last year's swimmer of the championships aims for more glory, trying to win a third title in the 200 fly. But this night is also one for mighty Michigan. Sprinting sensation Gustavo Borges and world record holder Tom Dolan, the Big Ten's swimmer of the year, have the Wolverines and head coach John Urbanchik ready to celebrate a 10th consecutive title. The Big Ten Men's Swimming and Diving Championships next on Prime. Prime Sports presents the Big Ten Men's Swimming and Diving Championship. We're coming to you from the University of Minnesota Aquatic Center. Hello, I'm Bruce Leonard. Joining me poolside is former Olympian George DeCarlo. And George, first off, before we get to talking about the teams and individuals we are looking forward to seeing so much here, talk about the Big Ten Conference as a whole. And well represented in the top 25, 4 schools, including #1 Michigan.
It's unusual. The Sun Belt has notoriously had the #1 ranking. Finally, a Big Ten school's broken in. It shows you the strength of this conference.
And Michigan being #1, the odds-on favorite to win a 10th consecutive Big Ten title. Why not? Their previous 9 have come by an average of 153 points. You combine that with the fact they've got the #1 recruiting class, and you can see why they have been so successful.
That's right. You know, 5 freshmen. But what's unusual about this class is they're not all sprinters. Most coaches are recruiting sprinters, but these guys are middle distance, 200 breast, 200 back. What that means is Coach Urbanchik has gone out and done something different of what other coaches are doing. I spoke with him earlier about his coaching philosophy.
Yes, we have not made the change, philosophical change. I believe in training still, that probably the old-fashioned way of training and putting the mileage in. And I've been very successful with the 1500 for an IM and kind of the 200 and up. And so I would want to capitalize on what I think I can do well, and I haven't done real well in the sprint races. So I just assume to spend the time and energy with people I know how to handle versus somebody I'm not very familiar with.
He's very fortunate to have several outstanding individuals to hone that philosophy on, and one of the best, world record holder Tom Dolan.
Tom Dolan is the defending champ in the 400 IM, the 500 free, and the 1650. Look for him to challenge in all those races tonight.
All right, something good to watch. Of course, Michigan's other prince of the pool, the sprinting sensation Gustavo Borges. And if he is not in a class by himself, George, it sure doesn't take long to call roll.
It's his last year. He's defending champ 4 times, going for his 4th title in the 100-yard freestyle.
Now, Michigan does not have the monopoly on talented swimmers. Iowa's Rafael Zuccalla is one who comes quickly to mind, and we're looking forward to seeing him in the fly.
That's right. He's going to be defending his title in the 200 fly.
All right, George, this is day 3 of a 3-day competition. When we come back, we're going to take you back to the first 2 days of the competition, update the team standings, and show you some scores and highlights. And we'll get to all of that next on Prime.
Honda Automobiles, 8 blocks west of the Woodfield Mall on Gulf Road.
Bruce Leonard and George DeCarlo back at the Aquatic Center, the campus of the University of Minnesota. And as I said earlier in the telecast, this is a 3-day event, George, but we're going to backtrack a little bit and see how the teams got to where they are today. In day 1, Michigan starting to sow the seeds to a 10th consecutive Big Ten title.
Just about a 40-point lead. Look for them to, I think, increase on that in the next 2 days.
Yeah, Minnesota must feel pretty good basically after day 1, but as we go to last night's highlights, we see Michigan starting to pull away right away, and they start doing it in the 200 medley relay. A great relay for them.
Right. Gustavo Borges anchored that relay, had an incredible last 50. In fact, they were 3rd place going into the last 50 and hung on to beat Minnesota.
All right, next up, Tom Dolan, the world record holder in the 400 IM. You get a shot of him there, and he had a terrific race after a sluggish morning.
That's right. You know, he was 9 seconds faster in the finals, which showed me, I don't know, he might have been a little angry from his morning swim, but came back to swim an incredible time. In fact, he set a new Big Ten Conference meet championship record.
Next up, the 100 fly, and our first chance to see one of the greats, Rafael Zuccalla of Iowa. He is simply the best in this event.
He almost pulled this one out. Just got beat on the touch by Derek Williams, a junior from Minnesota.
Super effort by Williams. Then the 200 free, and Gustavo Borges wins it for the 4th
That's right.
year in a row.
He took control. You know, this is probably his specialty. Just a senior, experienced, just won it.
And you look down the list, Michigan getting second and everything else. Well, we go to the next event on the list, the 100 breast, and Stephen West of Michigan. He won the 200 last year, adds the 100 this year.
That's right. You wouldn't think that Michigan, this is one area that they're relatively weak in. They don't have a lot of depth, but if you're weak in an event, you want your one swimmer in it to win it.
And win it they did, the 100 back to the next event. And talking about freshmen who want to make first impressions, quite a one by Boykanchu of Michigan. They've got a great one by way of Turkey.
That's right. You know, he was part of the Olympic team for Turkey, coming in as a freshman, making NC2A considerations in the 100 back. He swam a very good race. You know what? It's tough to come into this meet as a freshman and have the confidence and really go out and win in a big final.
Yeah, it's amazing how much the freshmen have come in, and instead of waiting 2 years to see them mature, they come in and do something right away.
I think a lot of that is some of the seniors on that team have kind of pulled them along and showed them the ropes.
All right, in our last event on Friday last night, the 800 free, and look at here, Michigan again winning.
That's right. You know, relays are scored double points. It's 40 points to win a relay. Second place is 36, and they won by a little less than half a second over Minnesota.
So far, Michigan doing well in the relays, something Coach John Urbanchik would like to see. Now, Friday standings, you can see that reflected in the standings. Michigan starting to pull away from the rest of the field.
That's right. You know, you look at some of the depth that they had in the sprints. Yesterday was the sprints. Today, we'll see some of the distance events, and I think Michigan is really loaded.
All right, well, we get back to the action. We'll be up to date. Day 3, we'll get back to the excitement of the 1650 free. Coming up next on Friday. Welcome back to the Big Ten Men's Swimming and Diving Championships. Bruce Leonard along with George DiCarlo, and we are in the midst of the 1650-yard free. And our lane assignments, there you see him in lane 4. Tom Dolan, the one to watch. He's the defending champion and looking awfully well at this point.
Defending champion in this event. He's swimming easy 54s, if you can call them easy. If anybody who's swam 54 seconds for 100, a lot of times you can only do one. He's going to do 16 of them. In fact, he should push his own meet record.
All right, in lane 6, of course, the young freshmen. We've been talking about freshmen, how much of an impact they have been making already. And Len Terrace in Minnesota looking strong, running 2 right now.
It kind of seems that Minnesota is along the same thinking as Michigan. Recruit the distance guys. I mean, right now, it's one of the easier events to make a U.S. Olympic team or a World Championship team. And sometimes you've got to throw in some distance guys and get those points. If Minnesota wants to challenge Michigan, sometimes you got to do it at their own game.
All right, you see the Big Ten records and the NCAA cutoff and consideration marks. So why not at the top of our telecast, George, explain the cutoff and consideration times?
The qualifying, NC2A qualifying time is an automatic qualifying time. If you're under that, 15:11.78, you get to go to the NC2A championships. If you're under the consideration time, which is 15:39.13, they will fill up to 3 to 4 heats at the NC2A championships.
So there's not only pressure here to win, but pressure to make those times if you don't win.
Absolutely. This is a competitive meet. When you get to the NC2As, it's really tough.
Well, I don't think Tom Dolan of Michigan needs to worry about making those times. The thing that strikes me, this was your event, George.
This was my event,
yeah. So you can relate here, but as I watch Tom Dolan go, he looks like he's out for a Sunday swim.
Right now, he's swimming easy 6.0 turnover rates, which is just easy as can be. You know, he stands 6'7", big guy, and he uses every length of his arms to get maximum water pull.
He is close to lapping people already, and Tom Dolan of Michigan seems to be a perfect fit.
Yeah, you know, I spoke with Tom earlier on why he came to Minnesota, or to Michigan, and why he wanted to swim for John Urbanchik.
John's always been known for having great middle distance IMers and distance freestylers. Although, you know, he has great sprinters too, but I mean, that's one of the attractions that Michigan had, you know, that I liked. So it's great, especially on the NC2A level, because a lot of coaches kind of focus more towards the sprints, because that's where you score a lot more points with the relays, which is one of the problems that the United States is having with their distance swimming now. But it's nice to see, it's refreshing to see that John, even though, you know, more points are in those sprint relays, that he sticks more towards his distance events.
The words of Tom Dolan, and again, he continues to lead the way here. Dolan, the swimmer of the year, the freshman of the year last year. He won this event by nearly 20 seconds last year. It looks like he might try and top that this year.
In fact, he's lapping some slower swimmers in the pool. Now, this is a time final event. We had 3 heats of this earlier in the meet. And what that means is if somebody swam fast enough in this morning's swims, they could conceivably win this event. It's unlikely Tom Dolan's going to win this event going away, but what will happen is the top 8 finishes in this heat may not be the top 8 finishes for this event.
All right, Michigan, of course, coming into tonight's competition, widening their lead. They've got 5 swimmers in this event, and they're all looking pretty good here. And should they score well here, we can almost write them a 10th consecutive Big Ten title after this.
There was potential. They've got 5 swimmers in this heat. They had 2 others earlier in the meet. It's not going to happen, but conceivably they could have scored 82 points. But right now, Thomas Dolan, he won the 400 IM earlier in the meet in record fashion. Also got second in the 500, so he missed defending his title in the 500, but still was a remarkable time. Again, this event is 66 trips up and down. Yep. At what point does fatigue set in? It depends on how you swim it. If you take it out real hard in the first 100, fatigue can set in nearly immediately, and then it's a struggle just to finish the race. Now, what Tom did earlier in this event was take it out in 50 point, which is what a lot of guys do for the 500-yard freestyle. What that does is that takes the stinger out of everybody. Now everybody's just trying to recover. He's just gone from 50 point the first 100 to 54s there on out, and is just swimming a nice, relaxed race, not really being pressured at all. Well, Dolan continues to lead. A nice race developing for second. Lenteris and Chris Rumley down low here in lane 8, battling it out for second, but Dolan still in fact, he's coming up the lap, the second-place swimmer. To give you an idea, his competition in the 500 when he got second was another Michigan sophomore. In fact, they went 1, 2, 3 in that event. And that's the kind of depth we were talking about earlier. Michigan, they may not have the sprinters, may place 1, 2 people in the 100, but if they place 4 in a 200 or 3 in a 500, that's so many more points. And John Urbanchek has really gone out. I mean, he's comfortable coaching middle distance people, and that's where his strengths are. And you really don't want to try and go against what you believe as far as training goes, and go with what your strengths are, and he has done that. And done it very well. We've got 4 more laps of this event. Thomas Dolan, actually 3 more when he makes this turn. He's there in the middle of the pool. And still looking strong. Yeah, in fact, he's kicking hard now out of the turn, so he's comfortable. I think he gained a lot of confidence off that 400 IM last night when he went 344. He was hurting a little bit in the morning, came back, and just buried the last 100 in that race to win pretty easily. Dolan holding the Big Ten championship meet record at 14:51.79 set last year. He's going to have an incredible time. We're going to look at a Big Ten conference meet record for Thomas Dolan coming in here the last 12 yards. And as Dolan touches, indeed he does, by nearly over 4 seconds. 14:47.27, the winning time for Tom Dolan. I reckon right now that will probably be the top time in the country right now. 15:47 is only 13 seconds off the standing American record in that event. That's an outstanding swim for him. And how disheartening is it to see Dolan done, and you've got to go back up and down yet, as most of these swimmers are. Big battle here for second. Chris Rumley, Michigan, winning it, and now the race for third. And was it lane 7 or lane 6 that won it out? Looks like it was lane number 8. Lane 8. Brian Barnes, senior from Indiana, was second place in that event. And Chris Rumley of Michigan finishing third. Well, that's nearly 26 seconds from first to second place. Here's a look at Chris Rumley. Outstanding swim. And as Tom Dolan gets out of the pool. We'll talk about this later on, but he's not shaved for this meet. And let's take another look at Tom Dolan's finish. Just real smooth stroke, long arm pulls. It doesn't even look too winded there. That's an outstanding swim. Take a second look, gives you a bigger idea of just how big a lead he had. Nearly a 50. Look at Brian Barnes at the top of the screen in lane number 2. He was second in this event. or in this heat, actually. And actually, let's see, he was second. Yes, there was a swimmer in the earlier heat that swam 15:14. Brian Barnes was 15:13.
All right, when we come back, the men's 200 back. And here we go with the 200 back consolation and lane assignments. And let's look at Chris Plum, the sophomore from Indiana, had the best time in the preliminaries.
Yeah, he was third. Well, this is a console, so the most points he can get here if he wins the consoles is 9. He was 13th in the 200 free, 12th in the 500 free. It shows a little versatility. He also owns the third fastest time on the Indiana team.
And so far, a tight race.
You look at lane number 5, Sean Button, freshman at Ohio State. He's swimming right on the lane rope. Sometimes that'll distract you if your shoulder rubs up against that. In fact, he's swimming somewhat of a circle. Lane number 3 is coming up. Max Axline, a sophomore from Ohio State. We've got 4 laps to go in this event. And remember, the qualifying time, NC2A qualifying, automatically 1:44.69. 3 more laps left.
That's what they're shooting for. And Matt Axline continuing to lead. Not by much, but he makes the turn.
Now, even if you swim faster in this event than they do in the finals, the most you can get is 9th place, which is 9 points. 2 laps to go.
Axline again making the turn. He continues to lead, not by much. In lane 4, that's Chris Plum in lane 4 from Indiana is second.
The third 50 is really when you want to make your move. Because a lot of people back off on the third 50 in order to sprint the last 50.
And here we go. Can he hold on?
Looks pretty strong there, right into the finish, coming underneath the flags, into the wall.
And Matt Axline of Ohio State finishing ahead to get the win in the 200 back consolation.
With a time of 1:48.40. Give you an idea how fast the qualifying times are. The qualifying times are usually taken off the top 8. The automatic qualifying off the top 8 finishes at the NC2As. Consideration times are backed off to maybe the top 24 swimmer.
Teammate Sean Button, a freshman, comes on to get second, so a 1-2 finish for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, they've got to be pleased with that.
Check out the replay. Here's the finish again. Watch Matt Axline in lane 3.
Real strong coming in. Head perfectly still, just powering underneath the flags. This is when you want to get your finish down right. Count your strokes underneath the flags. Stretch to the wall. Great job. Here
One
it
more
is
look at him.
again. Coming in, driving to the wall. Look at that extension.
Again, Matt Axline, 1:48.40, his winning time. Joining us now, 1650 winner Tom Dolan. Tom, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Did it look as easy as it seemed up here?
Yeah, it actually felt pretty easy. Really, through about the 1200, it felt real easy. I started cramping up a little bit in my stomach. I've been having some breathing problems, and I'm not sure if that was the case in my stomach. You know, it was a little tight and a little cramping in my stomach, but really, the swim felt really easy, and I'm pretty confident going into 2As.
Tom, did that 400 that you swam last night give you a lot of confidence when you went 3:44 to come into this 1650 tonight?
Yeah, it definitely did. I think, you know, with the 500, I was expecting a little bit better. You know, I was happy with 418, but I had a lot of breathing problems, and that was really the only question for me this meet was whether or not my breathing would be right. And really, the 400 IM, I went in and felt great. My breathing was great, and you know, I surprised myself a little bit with 344, and I think I just rolled from there.
Well, congratulations, Tom. You set a Big Ten championship meet record to boot, even though you weren't feeling so well. So congratulations. Good luck in the NCAAs.
Thanks.
And now let's get ready for the 200 back final, the lane assignments. And again, let's key in on Roy Sharp, the defending champion.
Roy Sharp, 5-time Big Ten champion, Big Ten Freshman of the Year. He's a junior. He was also a member of the World Games team, won a bronze medal in Rome last year.
Yeah, he's ranked 3rd in the world. In fact, I believe he's going for his 3rd straight title in this event.
That's right. Yeah, this is his specialty, no doubt. Greg Rumsky, sophomore from Indiana, was second in the backstroke yesterday. And the 100-back made the consideration time. He's got the school record.
And there you see the Big Ten records and cutoff and consideration times.
That's right. Roy Sharp has a Big Ten championship record at 142.72. Cuts are 144.69. Nobody was under that this morning. We'll see what happens. You know, a lot of times that third 50 is the key. If you don't set up that third 50, he's got nothing coming in that last 2 laps.
200 backstroke. Gentlemen, place your feet. Take your mark.
And the 200 back underway, and everyone off to an even start. Again, Roy Sharp, the defending champion in lane 3.
You know, we talked about some of the freshmen that Michigan has recruited. One of them, Derva Buykancu from Turkey. Outstanding swimmer. Led off Michigan's winning 4x100 medley relay yesterday.
And he also added the 100 back to boot, so yeah.
In fact, he's taken a little bit of a lead over Greg Rumsky. But Rumsky's a little unusual, especially for a 200. Watch him coming off the wall. He'll stay underwater longer than all the other swimmers. This is more typical of, say, a 100 backstroke. That's half a lap. That's a long way to hold your breath. See what happens here in the last 4 laps.
Any advantage, disadvantage to doing that?
Well, you streamline, and as you can see, he comes out of the water with a little bit of a lead, and then he loses it to Buykancu going into the wall. So, you know, maybe go the whole lap, but then you get into oxygen debt, and that's not fun.
All right, the race been between lanes 3, 4, and 5. Rominsky from Indiana right now.
Watch out for Roy Sharp in lane number 3. He's got the experience. He's a junior. He's not shaved for this meet, but he's got the experience. He may come on.
Rominsky continuing to hold a slight lead. They head to the final turn.
Just a matter if he can hold his breath long enough to maintain his lead coming off this turn to Roy Sharp in lane number 3. Here comes Roy Sharp, Michigan, lane number 3.
There you can see them side by side.
Oh, this is close.
And who's going to win it? Who gets the touch? I think Sharp in lane 3.
Derva Buykancu, 144.42.
The young freshman. It's Buykancu.
And that is an automatic NC2A qualifying swim.
Roy Sharp, the defending champion, the 2-time champ, will have to settle for second this time around, and Greg Rominsky from Indiana takes third.
Roy Sharp also makes automatic qualifying time. That's an outstanding swim.
There's a good look at Buykancu. Going to hear a lot from this guy in the years to come.
Absolutely.
Let's check out the replay of that great finish, and again, watch it in 3, 4, and 5.
Coming right off the turn, Roy Sharp's first out of the water, had a little bit of lead there, but Derva Buykancu just cranked it. The last 12 yards really took control, and watch his finish as we come underneath the flags here, as he extends and reaches to the wall. That was the difference. So right there.
So Derva Buykancu of Michigan takes home the 200 back. Up next, Michigan's Gustavo Borges will try and win a 4th consecutive title in the 100 free.
.40975.
Tom Dolan picking up the spoils of his victory in the 1650. Familiar place to see Dolan on the victory stand.
Yeah, that's right. 3 championships last year, 2 this year.
Another Michigan swimmer that I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of on the victory stand is the 200 back winner, Derva Buykancu. And Derva, congratulations. You're a double winner in your first time around.
Thanks. How's it feel to swim against Roy Sharp as somewhat of a mentor, a junior, to guide you here in your freshman year in the Big Ten?
Well, Roy's a great swimmer, a great backstroker, especially 200. And he won the bronze medal, 94 World Championships. So working with him in practice and, racing with him gives me a lot of experience. So I think it's great for NC2As and the other
Absolutely.
World Championships for like Olympics and stuff.
Did you see Greg Rumsky that last 25? And it's all three of you all lined up. In the last 12 yards, it seemed like you took control. Did you see that coming?
Yeah, I saw him underwater the last turn, and I was giving all effort last 25. And I just touched him out like 100.
Yeah, you had a great extension right here. I mean, all three of you were lined up. You came underneath the flags, and you had, I think, had the best finish.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, my legs are, I think, kind of strong for the last 25. I just pulled out, I mean, like the 100. So it's great.
That's a great swim. A freshman with 2 Big Ten championships. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Congratulations. Eric Boykanshu, a double winner for Michigan in the 100 and the 200 back. Now on our way to the 100 freestyle consolation. Here are the lane assignments. And Gregory Stacy, the freshman from Purdue. Maybe one to watch here.
One of the freshmen. You know, it's interesting. With the success of Michigan and Minnesota, especially now that they're, you know, in the top 25 and Michigan's #1 in the country, people want to swim in this conference because you don't want to be a big fish in a little pond. You want to go swim with the big fish.
Any strategy here, or is it just pure speed?
It's pure speed. The big trick is to get down when the starter says take your mark. Don't delay, just get down and go. You don't want to be sitting back on your heels at this start. That kills you because this race is too short.
And they're off from the 100 free.
Good start. You know, it's critical not to be too anxious on the start, because if you false start, you get to watch it from the sidelines. When they come down to this wall, as it is on every turn in the 100 free, there's a huge weight coming in behind them. They try to push off as far in the water as they can to get underneath that thing. If you come up too early, it nearly throws you back.
They'll take your pick halfway through. Great race.
Start getting into a little O2 debt, and now who wants it bad enough? Hard kick off the wall.
Fans will bring them out home.
John Piersma.
Could be
That's
John
what it looks
Piersma.
like, and it is.
John Piersma of Michigan in lane 5, just beating out
44.98. Yeah, that's a
Gregory
great
Stacy.
swim. And you know what's even more incredible about that is he won the 500 free on Thursday, beating Thomas Dolan for that championship. So not only can he swim the 100, but he can also double back and swim distance. That's kind of unusual. He's got to be pleased with that. 9 points for his school. He wins the consolation final.
Terrific race for John Piersma, edging out Gregory Stacy.
Here's the start. No rocking on your heels. Just get down and pull and go. And when they come into that first turn, there's such a big wake. John Piersma took control. The last 12 yards, kicked hard into the wall. Big extension finish. You know, it's something so many people, when they train, disregard. They don't finish hard in every race.
And that's how much he
That
won. That
close.
was about it, too.
Well, I think what he wanted probably was a best time. He's got to be pleased with that.
Well, up next, Gustavo Burgess' little try at history, trying to win this 100 free final, 4th time. He's already won the 200 for a 4th consecutive time, and if he should do this, he would become just the 2nd Big Ten swimmer in history to do the trick. John Kinsella of Indiana back in the early 70s, those great Hoosier teams, the only other one. Mike Stam, Gary Hall, and Mark Spitz, part of all those Hoosier teams.
Yep, Gustavo Borges, just a phenomenal. He came into the conference and is really just taking control of all the sprint races. He won as a freshman the 100 and the 200. As a sophomore, won the 50, the 100 and the 200. And then last year as a junior was 2nd in the 50, but successfully defended his title in the 100 and the 200 again.
Now, if he's got some competition, he needs no look further than a couple of lanes down at Krzysztof Kłalina. Kłalina, in fact, beat Borges Thursday, I believe, in the 50.
That's right. He won the 50. He was 3rd in the 100 last year. He was a member of the Poland Olympic team, a senior from Iowa. You know, the Iowa swim team is recruited heavily in Europe, and they've had some outstanding swimmers in the past, all the way from sprinters to distance freestylers.
And wouldn't it be a nice feather in his cap if he could score a couple of victories over Borges in his final go-around at the Big Tens?
That's right.
And now our lane assignments for the 100 free final. Gustavo Borges again in lane 4 and Krzysztof Kłalina in lane 7, the 2 to watch, the 2 seniors.
If you looked at Gustavo Borges in the 200 free just the other day, he didn't take control straight out, and that may not happen here. It's quite possible he may be behind at the 50, but not by very much. But what he did in that 200 medley relay yesterday was amazing. Came in third place off his start. Last 50, went by everybody. He's got one of the fastest finishing legs in swimming.
Borges, there's your records, and Borges holds the Big Ten record and your qualifying and consideration and cutoff times.
NC2A qualifying times are really fast. 43.91. Now that kind of time, 100, there's not a lot to mess around with. Distance events, most often you can get underneath the cuts, but 100, everything's got to be just right. The start, your goggles have to be perfect.
If Christoph Paulina looks pretty intense.
You don't want him to fall off. Total concentration, you need to nail the start. It's one of the biggest things in the 50 and the 100 free.
Swimmers about ready to take their marks.
Get the final crowd cheer, and it's got to be quiet. Total concentration when you get up on the blocks.
Gentlemen, please step up. .100 freestyle.
Watch this start. This is going to be
Take your
fast.
mark.
Gustavo's pretty tall. He can get off that block in a hurry. Let's see what he does here in the first 50.
Everybody pretty much turning together.
Christoph Paulina, a little bit of a lead coming into the first 50. Making the turn. Yep, he's got a lead. 21.03 to Borges at 21.24. But this is where Gustavo takes control.
Borges and Paulina.
Yep, underneath the wave.
This is what everyone wanted. Borges and Paulina. It looks like Borges will win the race to the
fourth.
cape.
His fourth Big Ten championship, successfully defending his title with a time of 43.39.
And just another day at the office, the way he looks there.
Automatic qualifying again for the NC2As. He swam 43.87 this morning. That's an outstanding swim.
Christoph Paulina of Iowa takes second this time around, so a little bit of revenge for Borges for having lost the 50.
That's right. Still an outstanding swim, but he came out with his last 40 yards, but won that race.
Going to take a look at the start again, and
now he's sitting back, but he rockets forward by using his arms to pull down. But that's really not where his strength is. His strength is that last 40 yards. This is where he makes his move. Now he's got about 30 yards from that turn, and he's already taken a slight lead. He ends up winning by 7/10, which in 100 free is a long time. Coming in at 12.5 yards left. You can see where he's extended his lead. Coming underneath the flags, driving to the wall, and he's done this so many times.
And Borges hitting the wall at 43.39. He gets the win. Christoph Paulina again in second for Iowa. And when we come back on Prime, the men's 200 breast coming up next on Prime. And welcome back, and there you see the results of the 100 freestyle final, and Gustavo Borges of Michigan, little trip into the history books of the Big Ten, wins it for a fourth consecutive year.
43.39. He's
great time.
Owned the sprinting events and the middle distance events and been a tremendous asset to the Michigan team. They're going to miss him next year, but this year was incredible.
Yeah, thanks for the memories, Gustavo. He joins us now. I don't know if you realize, but you are a part of Big Ten history, a double four-time winner. What does that feel like for you, a man who has set so many records?
Well, I don't think too much in history when I swim. I just, go about my work, swim as hard as I can, and you know, the history is just a consequence of what we do, the work we do. So I'm pretty glad.
Gustav, that last 50 of the 100 free, is that something that you try to do? I mean, you were right with everybody going into the 50, and the last 50, you took control and killed everybody.
Well, it's something that I've been working on. It's I think the last 50 in the 100 is very important to win a race. I've had experience in the Olympics, World Championships. I've seen Popov swim a lot, and his last 50 is really impressive, and I've been working on. And I just have to take out fast and come back hard.
Well, you did the same thing in the 200. You did the same thing in the 100 tonight. Also the medley relay yesterday. You've got to feel good.
Yeah, I think the back half of our race is very important. I try hard. I work hard on that back half. And I think that's all I got to do.
All right, thank you, Gustavo.
Welcome.
4-time winner of the 100 free. And now on to the lane assignments for the 200 breast. Consolation. There they are.
200 breaststroke, one of the harder events to coach in NC2A competition. Because each person swims this race a little bit differently.
I was going to say that this, I'm a weekend YMCA-er. I can freestyle, I could maybe backstroke, but there's no way I could ever get this down.
This is hard. You know, a lot of people say the butterfly is hard, and in fact it is, but the butterfly is something you can coach. Here, if you're a breaststroke specialist as a coach, you can't conform your stroke to the swimmer. It's the other way around. And as you look up and down this field, each person swims this race just a little bit differently.
Having said that, is there one technique that works better?
No, there isn't. Absolutely not. And you can see his recovery is over the water. Scott Dill, senior from Michigan, right now leading. Every stroke on his recovery, his hands are coming out of the water. Some people do that, some people don't. Now, if we look at lane number 3, here we are. See his arm recovery over the top.
Good look at Scott Dill. He continues to lead.
Now you get one underwater pull. We're coming in with 50 yards to go here at this turn.
And Greg Hansen of Wisconsin starting to catch up.
Even underwater, you can see different aspects of each person's stroke. Lane number 3 certainly caught up. Greg Hansen, along with Matt Brown, sophomore from Purdue. You know, he was 4th in the 400 IM and 2nd in the 200 IM. So you got to think that his strength is in the breaststroke. Coming into the last 17 yards.
Terrific race developing here. It should be a fantastic finish.
Lane number 2, lane number 1, they're all making a race for it.
Matt Brown, though, perhaps the lead from Purdue right in the middle. And Matt Brown will win the touch to the wall.
Winner of the consolation finals with a time of 2:02.74.
Greg Hansen of Wisconsin taking 2nd, and Scott Dill from Michigan will have to settle for 3rd this time around.
Now, a time of 2:02.74. The NC2A considerations are 2:02.34. Give you an idea how quick those are.
Let's take a look at how Matt Brown did.
Last 25, it really was a race, but he did take control, and I'll bet you that's a lot of his experience from the 400 IM. You get that endurance because the last 25 of 200 breast, you're burning. Arms and legs are on fire. Hey, you can see he extended his touch there a little bit at the end. Didn't want to take one more stroke. He's pleased with that.
Happy Matt Brown, you bet. Good for him. And now let's get ready for the 200 breast final. Paul Domer from Minnesota, the senior, best time this year in this event, and he's got to be one that Stephen West, the defending champion from Michigan, has got to be watching over his shoulder.
4th in the 100 breast yesterday. He was 9th at the NC2As last year, but you know what? He's the only one in this morning's heats to go under 2 minutes. Swam 1:59.36.
There's a good shot of Stephen West, the defending champion. West already, to his credit in this championship, has won the 100, so he's looking to be a double winner this time around.
That's right. It's his last year. He's a senior from Michigan. Defending his title.
Looks very focused as we take a look at the complete lane assignments. And a look at the Big Ten records and cutoff times and consideration times for the NCAAs.
this morning. He was nearly a second and a half faster than everybody. But you know, it was interesting. There were only 3 heats of that this morning. That was it. Only 24 swimmers wanted to swim this race. And that's the smallest heat event of any in the meet. So maybe that's an indication of how tough this race is. I mean, even in the 1650, which we saw a lot of, some people don't like to swim, you know, there were 5 heats in that.
This has been a favorite of Michigan down through the years. They've won it 9 of the last 10 years, and with Stephen West, they've got a good bet to do it for 10 of 11.
Got a great history with Mike Bowerman, Eric Wunderlich, just goes right on down the line. They've had some tremendous swimmers from Michigan in this event, but you know what? Their strength right now in the last couple years has shifted to the backstroke and 400 IM. So they're not as strong. The depth isn't there, but certainly Stephen West has proven to be capable of going to town with this event.
Let's take a look at the Big Ten records and the NCAA cutoff and qualifying times, consideration times.
There's Eric Wunderlich, 155.87, the Big Ten meet championship record, which can only be set at this event.
200 breaststroke. Take your mark. Stand up, gentlemen.
Now you see the starter wants to get everybody down at the same time so that nobody's waiting there to go longer than anybody else. So he'll hold them back up and tell them all come down together.
Motionless position. 200 breaststroke. Take your mark. Stand up.
Ooh, that was close. If he entered the water, that was as close as you can get to false starting without getting wet. Yeah, they'll restart him here in a second. Kind of let him get reorganized.
Well, now what does this do to everyone's thinking?
Well, the thing is right now is even still on that start, not everybody came down at the same time, and that's something that you really need to do to get a good start.
Take your mark.
Even still, lane number 3 is coming down much slower than everybody else.
Well, we finally get the group off.
Yeah, which is a disadvantage for the rest of the field who's come down when the starter tells him to.
Close race. So far, Paul Domer in the middle. Finished 3rd last year. Love to top that this year.
150 yards to go. We're still not quite setting up the race yet. The big key is going to be that 3rd 50. Some people will try to rest. We'll see if Stephen West can catch Domer right now in lane number 4.
Stephen West of Michigan running 2nd in lane 5. Domer of Minnesota still leading it.
Now he's got a very similar stroke as in the earlier heat. He recovers with his hands above the water. Big underwater pull down, kick, and a stroke up to the surface. This is that 3rd 50. Stephen West has got to remain close to Domer here if he's got a chance here for the last 50 to catch him.
Domer's led all the way. Here we go, the final 25. Paul Domer, Minnesota, trying to hold off defending champion Stephen West.
One more 50. Still maintaining a slight lead over Stephen West. About 4/10 of a second. We could be in for a real fast time tonight. This nearly looks like 100 at the rate they're going. Last 25.
Here the crowd bring them down. Domer and West.
Great turnover rate coming into the final wall.
West trying to get there, but Paul Domer of Minnesota in lane 4 wins the touch to the wall. Stephen West will have to settle for 2nd this time around. Winning time 1:58.22 for Paul Domer, and he's happy, and he should be.
That's an automatic qualifying time. He doesn't have to wait for the NC2As to answer. He's going.
Again, a look at the defending champion, a little bit dejected this time around.
Now Domer was 4th in the 100 breast, and now he wins the 200 breast. Real strong race. But I tell you what, Stephen West made a race out of it. He was down by 5/10. Watch. We're going to take a look here at the start again. Lane number 3 doesn't come down quite quick enough. But they all got off relatively fast, but you don't want to be hanging on the block.
Here's the great finish.
Stephen West was starting to catch, but he ran out of pool on Domer right there, that last stretch. He only ended up getting beat by 2/10. Paul Domer, outstanding time, senior from Minnesota.
And they love it here at the Aquatic Center. Of course, Minnesota the host for these Big Ten championships. And as Paul Domer thinks about his win, let's go ahead and get ready for the 200 men's butterfly. That'll be coming up next on Prime. Back to the Big Ten Men's Swimming and Diving Championships. We're at the University of Minnesota Aquatic Center. Bruce Leonard along with George DiCarlo. I'm glad to have you along, and we're getting ready for the 200 fly consolation. Take a look at lane 3, another freshman. We keep talking about these freshmen making an impact. Here's another one from Minnesota, Jonathan McLeod.
That's right, 3rd in the 200 IM, 6th in the 400 IM. This is where his strength lies in the butterfly, getting out quick. But I tell you what, a lot of freshmen, and I tell you, you know what's interesting is there are a lot of seniors who are graduating from all of these schools, and a lot of the freshmen have stepped up and really swam well at this meet.
They certainly have. And here's a look at McLeod's competition. The lane assignments.
Gentlemen, please step up. Butterfly.
Let's see if we can get this start off without a hitch. Everybody gets down at the same time, and it's easy.
Good start, and into the pool they go.
8 laps, 200 butterfly. What helps this race out short course is all the turns. When you go long course 50 meters, there are only 3 of them. There's a lot of swimming in between.
What's the key in the fly as opposed to the breast?
Same setup here, nearly in all the 200s. You want to swim a good 100. Don't go out too fast. You want to crank up that third 50. A lot of people sit on their heels and don't swim a good third 50 in order to rest and get ready for that final 50. But if you're sitting back, resting, a lot of times people will go by you. But more often than not, people swim an easy third 50. Here's that third 50.
And Jamie Piromaki of Ohio State, the junior, showing the way right now in lane 4.
He was 11th in the 400 IM. See who wants to challenge him on this third 50. There you can get an idea of the people around you as you make your turn off the walls.
Big battle for second right now, but Piromaki leading the way.
Yeah. You'll notice that some of them swim every other stroke they'll breathe, or every stroke they'll breathe. That's a lot of time a matter of choice. A lot of times you just need the air. It is faster to go every other stroke, put your head down, but it hurts more too. Coming into the last 12.5 yards.
And Ohio State's Jamie Piromaki trying to hold off the rest of the field. And he will win the race to the wall. There's your winner, Ohio State's Jamie Piromaki in lane 4, 1:48.99, the winning time.
Could have taken another half stroke, but he just stretched it out for the finish.
Purdue's Scott Place placing second.
Scott Place, here he is, junior from Purdue. You know, it's real important about 6 yards, right when you get into that solid maroon striping there in the lane lines. That's when you want to start setting yourself up for that finish. Here's the finish. Now you watch him. He could have, you want to do 7/8 stroke here, 7/8 stroke, 7/8 stroke. So you take a full stroke and a hard kick into the finish. Now watch, he'll just kind of float in and do just a kick as he stretches into the wall. If that had been a close race and somebody did that, 7/8, 7/8, then a full stroke, you can get beat.
And Jamie Piromaki showing the pleasure of winning the men's 200 fly. And let's look at the results of the men's 200 breast, and a terrific win for Paul Domer of Minnesota. He finally gets his revenge on Stephen West, the defending champion, and Paul is with us now. Congratulations, Paul, on winning the 200 breast. Did it feel extra special? We noticed you at the end to kind of give an extra heave after you won. Was it extra special beating Stephen West?
Yeah, it was really special. I mean, It's my senior year and last chance to get a Big Ten title. I've been thinking about it now for 2 years, so it finally came together.
That was outstanding. Was there a plan to that race where you went out hard in the first 100 and then just kind of held on, and then that last 25, did you see Steven coming on?
Oh yeah, I saw him after the first 100. He stuck with me pretty close. I knew I had to go out fast because
kind of take his stinger away.
Right. I mean, I learned from last year that he comes on hard at the end, so I just tried to hang on, and it worked out.
Well, you planned a great race. Not only that, but you had a great finish. That's something you need to practice and work out, isn't it?
Definitely. I've been working on finishes all year.
Yeah, you really set it up nice. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Terrific race, Paul. Paul Domer, the men's 200 breast winner. And now we are getting ready for the men's 200 fly. And, of course, the lane assignments and all eyes on Rafael Zucala of Iowa. He's going to try and win this for a third time. He won it in 92 and 94. He got beat in 93, but he's looking to make it 2 in a row.
He's had an outstanding career in the Big Ten. Second in the 100 fly yesterday, 13th in the 50, and then, of course, defending champion in this event.
And if someone's going to beat him, might be another one of those pesky freshmen hanging around. Jason Lancaster having a great year for Michigan.
Part of the Big 5 freshmen, actually 6 that Michigan picked up, 3 of which are part of that #1 recruiting class that they had. Jason was 3rd in the 100 fly, and you can look to the seniors of Michigan to help those kids. It's tough coming from a high school program into a Big Ten championships. It's not the same as, say, a state meet. This is bigger.
And actually, Jason, the top time in the prelims coming in.
That's right. Yeah, he had an excellent swim. Excellent swim, 147.73. Just missing the NC2A qualifying time of 146.41.
There's a look at the Big Ten record and the NCAA cutoff and considerations time.
It's quick. They've had some outstanding butterflyers in this conference throughout the years, and we should see an outstanding race here tonight. Don't think, I mean, it's a freshman. I remember standing up there in my first big final. I didn't know what to think, and I'd been to nationals. I'd already been to an Olympic trials. There's something about a conference meet with your family and friends and all your schools just cheering you on the sidelines.
Of course, he was last year's swimmer of the championships. And he is looking to join Indiana's Mike Troy and Mark Spitz as the only 3-time winners of this event.
Well, it might be a sneak in. Late #8, Derek Williams Jr. from Minnesota. He won the 100 fly, upsetting Rafael in that event. Had a great finish coming into the wall, and then he just touched him out.
That's right. If it was like 102 yards, Rafael probably would have won.
Well, 100 yards and maybe a foot. It was that close.
Gentlemen, please step up.
Same as always, starts are critical, especially in these shorter events.
200 butterfly. Take your mark.
Good start. Nobody got left on the blocks. Bernie Zaroon in lane #5, another junior from Minnesota. He was 6th in this event last year, 6th in the 500 and at this meet 2 days ago, and 3rd in the 200 free.
And Bernie Zaroon actually has the top time this year in this event.
Right now, as we can see, Derek Williams in lane #8, and it might just be some of that 100 speed taking an early lead in this event.
What about Zucala right now? How is he looking to you?
He looks good. You know, this morning had a strong last 50, but of course he was in another event or another heat than some of these other swimmers. You know, I think if he really wants it bad enough, being a senior, he's got the experience to do it. You look over and you see a fresh, like, I've been here 3 years, pal. Let's go race.
And Zucala and Lancaster in 3 and 4 are racing.
Got 60 yards to go.
Zucala has moved in front, slightly ahead of Lancaster and Williams of Minnesota.
They are nearly even at the wall. 1600 separate them, with Lancaster taking a little bit of a lead.
There you go.
Remember that third 50, he caught him. Coming in the last 25 yards. Now it's a question of who wants it bad enough.
Will Zucala come up short again? We'll see. Lancaster trying to hold him off.
Great finish.
And Lancaster at the wall.
That's a freshman. 145.53.
And Rafael Zucala will have to settle for the second time in this tour. 145.99 his time, but the second time he's touched out at the wall.
Both are outstanding swims. Both of them are underneath the automatic NC2A qualifying. Not just that, they swam 2.2 seconds faster than they did in this morning's races. Tell you what, Coach Urbanchek's got to be pleased with this freshman class. They've really stepped up this year. Coming in the last 12 and a half yards, Rafael just didn't quite have enough there. Jason Lancaster really pulled hard that third 50. Look back at the scoreboard, see you won by your name. It's close. Close that last 25. It's just enough. You know, he made a move in that third 50, which, you know, it's hard to keep saying it, but it really is important.
And there he realizes that Jason Lancaster beating out Rafael Zucala, one of the great ones, goes to a freshman. He wins the 200 fly. Up next on Prime, we'll leave the swimming pool for the tank and the men's platform diving.
They're 18 feet from the surface of the water to the bottom of the pool, because that's actually what you're looking at. Boy, hard to tell how they got such a big splash there right at the end.
And that wraps up our diving competition. We come back, our final event of the evening, the 400 freestyle relay. Now, one of the best races of the night, the 200 fly, and a great finish between Jason Lancaster of Michigan and Rafael Zucala of Iowa.
Freshman against the senior, the last 25 really was a fight. Jason Lancaster finished just superbly. Underneath the flags, times it out right, and watch his strong finish. And the retiring senior, Jason Alexander, is going to be a force in the Big Ten for the next 3 years. Both making automatic qualifying times for the NC2As.
Jason Lancaster, a tired but happy champion. There's the final results. Lancaster in 145.53 and Zucala second, 145.99. Now the lane assignments for the first of two heats of the 400 free.
Time final race. The top
First swimmer, please step up.
6 teams, the fastest 6 teams will be in the next heat. They stagger the lanes just to keep the
400 freestyle relay.
down between teams.
Good idea.
Each swimmer does 4 laps of the pool. Doesn't quite hand it off, no baton here. But it's critical on the start. The swimmer on the top does get to wind up. These blocks here at the University of Minnesota are wonderful. They're big. What a lot of these guys will do will actually get a 3-foot run prior to starting their own race.
And right now it is a pretty even race, but down here in the near part of your screen, Michigan State with the narrow lead.
What's interesting about this relay is leads change frequently. You may have a fast swimmer go out first. He's one of your best. Usually you anchor with your fastest swimmer. Your second best gets you the lead. He's your lead off. Notice on the start, some of them took a big step. Try and get every little bit of speed you can.
Michigan State in lane 7, continuing to lead. Wisconsin in 5 is second.
Purdue's coming on. Now, I think if I were going to coach, I'd put my fastest swimmer 4th, second fastest 1st, and then flip a coin for 2 and 3. But you got to give the chance somehow to your anchor swimmer with 100 to go.
And Michigan State into the pool first for the third leg. freshmen. They've had 2 freshmen in the middle legs here for Michigan State, and they're doing well.
1 more 50 to go, and they hand it off to the anchor person for Michigan State. That's going to be Claviter, a senior. For Wisconsin, it's going to be Lorenz. He's a sophomore. The only freshman in the final leg will be from Purdue. That's Mike Ullum. Blankenhorn for Penn State in lane number 4.
Almost a dead heat between Purdue, Wisconsin, and Michigan State as we go to the final.
You can begin your windup anytime you want. You just got to make sure that your toes don't leave the blocks before the swimmer in the pool has touched the wall. This is some of the funnest aspects about swimming for a college team are the relays.
Purdue, way up front, has the lead as they make the final turn.
Mike Ullum, a freshman. Here they come. Oh, he's taking a tremendous lead. Made a move at the 50. And what we'll have to do is take a look at this time of 3:00:96 and see how it stacks up with the next heat.
Purdue winning it going away. Wisconsin will have to settle for second, Penn State third, and Michigan State, which was leading for most of the race, ends up being last, fourth.
A lot of times that's how it happens in these relays. It all depends on who you've got anchoring.
That's a happy group of Boilermakers right there. Let's take a look at the replay.
Big finish. Mike Ullum, freshman no less from Purdue. Big finish here right at the end. Just a commanding lead, body and a half length. There. Oh, here's a close-up. Putting his head down. Last breath right there. Power into the wall. Big finish.
All right, we come back. We will see Heat 2 of the 400 relay finals. All right, lane assignments for Heat 2 of the finals. And Michigan and Minnesota, that's where the race should be, but look out for Iowa too.
400 freestyle relay.
Right, they're defending champs in the 200.
Take your mark.
Boycon Chu had a slow start for Michigan there right off the stop, but Michigan's got 2 freshmen leading off their relay. Boycon Chu won the 200 back. Jason Lancaster is going to jump off second for the Wolverines. He won the 200 fly.
Right now, though, Indiana in lane 7 in the lead, being pushed, though, in the middle by Michigan and Minnesota.
Give you an interesting bit of strategy. Matt Schlesman from Minnesota, who was 6th place in the 100 free, the fastest swimmer from Minnesota, is going to go second. See if they can maintain their lead.
See if the strategy pays off.
See what happens. But remember, for Michigan, you got Gustav Borges anchoring. Christoph Walina for Iowa will anchor their relay.
Lane 2, the Hawkeyes making a move now. Iowa in front of Minnesota. They've caught him.
Jim Mulligan, he was 4th for Iowa in the 100 freestyle. He's in the pool and up there in lane number 2. So right now you got a couple of finalists in 100 free racing here for the second swimmers. Still handed off to Marchitel for Iowa. Piersma, who won the 500 free, was 9th in the 100 consoles. And Eisenhuth for Minnesota.
Iowa still leading, Minnesota second and Michigan third.
This will lead us up to the big anchor.
Gophers in lane 5 now have retaken the lead.
By 2/100ths of a second. Big 6-feet kick. Can Piersma catch him? Okay, Christoph Swalina from Iowa is going to anchor their relay. Gustavo Borges for the Wolverines. And Lentaris for Minnesota. And
Borges has given Michigan the lead in lane 4.
He had an awesome start. Incredible start. Piersma actually got them a little bit of a lead on that third leg.
Paulina for Iowa, lane 2 giving chase, but right now it's Borges from Michigan.
Remember what Gustavo told us about the last 50 he's been working on. This is where he wants to accelerate and take control of this race. They're defending champions in the 400 free relay. Michigan's Big Ten Conference meet record is 2:54.63.
Gustavo Borges leading Michigan to victory again.
And they got it by 100th of a second.
2:54.62.
That's amazing. That's amazing. 2 freshmen. Oh, he's pleased. Another Big Ten championship for the senior from Michigan.
Iowa takes second. There's Christophe Paulina.
Well, only Michigan made automatic cuts at 2:55.60. Well, that's his last swim. A Big Ten Conference meet. It's got to feel good going out with another Big Ten Conference record. All right, let's take a look at the start, because Boy Conchu kind of sat on the blocks, and that may have been costly. Look at him up there in lane number 4, well off the start.
Almost looked like he was totally taken by surprise.
Yeah. You know, if you're caught on your heels, you can get killed at the start. And there's Piersma, had a little bit of a lead, gave Michigan that 2/10 of a lead going into the last swim. And then when you've got the guy that won the 100 free individually anchoring the relay with a lead, no less, got to feel confident when he's coming in the wall. And he did indeed take control of the last 25, pushing the Wolverines to another championship.
They've done pretty well in the relays.
They really have.
Head coach John Urbanchik got to be pleased with the way his entire Michigan team has performed. And we're going to be back with the final results. We'll talk to a few people. We'll do all of that when we come back here in Prime. Championships and the final results of the 400 free relay, and Michigan setting a new Big Ten championship record in 2:54.62, beating out Iowa and Minnesota. And that bodes well as the Michigan Wolverines went on to win their 10th consecutive Big Ten crown, 786 points, easily outdistancing Minnesota, which was second with 541. And I'm joined here now, George DiCarlo, and the winning coach, old hand at this, John Urbanchik.
Number 10, coach, how's it feel this time?
Pretty good. You know, the only difference is every year it's a different personnel, so it's kind of changed for me.
You know, you've done it this year with a group of freshmen. The seniors really contributed. Yeah, Jason Lancaster and Daria Boykanchu.
Oh, yes, the last relay was led off by the 2 freshmen, and then, of course, John Michael Piersma from the World Championship team, and the one and only Gustavo Borges anchoring the relay. I always feel good when Gustavo is anchoring the relay.
How difficult is it going to be for you to replace him?
Yeah, you can't replace Gustavo. It's just, that's a franchise. You just don't get athletes like that. But I'm glad I had an opportunity to work with him the last 4 years.
Right, that's outstanding. Number 10.
Well, it looks pretty good for the future, too.
That's right.
It looks like the ball is going to keep on rolling.
Right, 2 freshmen leading off the relay.
Yes, that looks very good for the future. Right now we're preparing for the NC2A, though. Our main focus is to go on from here and then go on to the NC2A, so it looks pretty good.
So try to replace some of the seniors that you're losing for next year and try to get number 11?
I think it's going to happen, yeah. It looks very good for the future for Michigan swimming. I feel very confident.
Okay, great.
Well, fantastic event for you again, Coach. Congratulations, 10 in a row. Good luck in the NCAAs.
Thank you very much.
And we'll come back. We'll return here to the Minneapolis Aquatics Center. We will talk to the swimmer of the meet. And welcome back. We're looking at that fantastic finish of the 400 free relay, won by Michigan and Gustavo Borges.
Took control on that last 50 and just said, see ya, bye everybody.
And Gustavo Borges joins us now. He's been named the swimmer of the meet. You know, if you need help calling him all your hardware, George and I are available. What a great way to end your Big Ten Ten career.
Yeah, it's kind of sad my last time here, but it's just the beginning of our championship season, having NC2As in a month. That's our final goal for the season, so I'm ready for that.
You got to feel good. Your 4th year, 4 victories in the 100 free. You finally had a lead in the last 100 there on the relay. How'd that feel?
Yeah, that was the first time in 4 years that I had the lead in the 400 free relay going into the last leg, so it felt kind of weird. I usually swim fast under pressure if I dive from behind, but I swim faster this time.
This time you didn't need to.
Yeah, I didn't need to, but, you know, it was good.
That's great.
I'm happy.
2 championships in this meet, not to mention the victories in the relay. You're leaving as a senior. You set a legacy to all the freshmen. How did you feel that they did this year?
I think not just the freshmen, but the whole team. Everybody's doing well. Our final goal is NC2As, like I said, and the team is looking really well. We're going to have tough competition with Stanford, Auburn, and Texas, and I'm excited. We had a bunch of people that made NC2A cuts, and we have a good team going into the championship.
Finally got a team that's really covered in all areas of the whole meet, not just in the sprints, but also in the distance events. A lot of depth on this team. Is that new?
Yeah, definitely. We had some sprinters coming in this year. The freshmen really helped us out, filling the gaps from certain events. And I think everything is working out the way we expected. And just see what happens a month from now.
Great. Gustavo, congratulations.
Thanks.
Wonderful career at Michigan.
Thank you.
That's terrific, letting us watch it, too, the last few days here. All right, we've come back. We'll have some final thoughts and look at the final scores one more time. And welcome back to the University of Minnesota Aquatic Center, where we see a familiar ending to the Big Ten Swimming and Diving Championships, as it has been for the last decade. Michigan rolling to another crown, maybe even more impressive than they've been in recent years, George. 786 points to Minnesota's 541, so 240-point win.
This year they really dominated. You know, they filled in the holes from last year, and Minnesota did make a race of it up until the last meet. But right now, with all the new freshmen they've got, right now they're unbeatable.
And, of course, anchored by the big senior Gustavo Borges, who comes home and ends his Big Ten swimming career by getting the Swimmer of the Meet award.
He's going to be missed. He anchors all the relays, with the exception of one of the relays yesterday. And he also has got the 50, the 100, the 200. He's going to be tough to replace. Just an outstanding swimmer.
And there they are, the Michigan Wolverines, your 1995 Big Ten Swimming and Diving champions.
Number 10 in a row.
10 in a row. Got a kind of a sweet ring to it. Of course, now they can turn their attention to the NCAAs, which is the real business at hand. And maybe this is the year they finished 2nd and 3rd the last 2 years. Can this be the year they win it all?
Well, what's going to be interesting about this is they go against Texas and Stanford, who have all the sprint relays down. If John Urbanchek does it right and calculates right, their depth is really going to help them in those races. That's what's going to be the big secret, is can they get enough points in all those individual events and withstand points in the relays?
Well, they sure did great in the relays here, but again, it's an entirely different situation. The NCAAs, the competition, much, much tougher.
Much, much tougher. You know, the NC2As is a whole new ball game. You only take a few swimmers, and they've all got to score. Every race counts.
I guess one of the most frustrated, well, probably the most frustrated team here has got to be the Minnesota Gophers. The host Gophers, 6th straight time they finished 2nd to Michigan. They've got a great team, but still not at the level of Michigan. What do they have to do in this offseason to try and catch up with the Wolverines, if that's possible?
Well, I don't know if they're going to lose the number of seniors that Michigan will this year, but they've got to have their freshmen who didn't swim as well as Michigan's freshmen. They've got to recruit a whole new class, and they've got a beautiful facility here. There's no reason why they can't catch them. I used to have a belt buckle when I was swimming, and I used to get number 2 all the time, and it said when you're number 2, you try harder. And it's really, it's as simple as that.
It works for Avis, I guess, huh? Anyway, any lasting thoughts you'll take from this meet?
The quality of the freshmen, not just from Michigan, but from all the schools, they did outstanding. They really came through. You know, there were some seniors who did well, but it's so unusual at a meet of this caliber that the freshmen come in and really swim well and perform the way they did.
All right, we'll end it with that. For George DeCarlo, I'm Bruce Leonard. That's it from Big Ten Men's Swimming and Diving Championship, where Michigan reigns supreme for a 10th straight year.